Hi, everybody, and welcome to another installment of Toy Ventures. This week, we are going to be talking about one of my favorite things to talk about, and that is rack toys. Namely, Parachuting Planet of the Apes rack toys by Azrak Hamway. So let's give a little bit of a backstory on the parachuting figure. Azrak Hamway did not invent this. This has been a very popular item in rack toys for decades. Most famously, I would say, would be the Imperial Poopa Troopers. However, the first known evidence of licensed parachute figures dates back to the 1960s and a company called Rayline, who is famous for the Star Trek tracer guns. They licensed a television series called Ripcord about parachutists, which is probably the most logical use of this item ever. And then they also followed up with Batman. They are the first ones to do a Batman parachuting figure in the late 1960s, obviously to capitalize on the Adam West television series. Flash forward to the early 1970s, and Azrak Hamway had the license for the Marvel and DC superheroes, and obviously put that parachuting concept to good work, using Batman, Superman, Spider-Man. Eventually, Hulk and Captain America would join. There were supposed to be others like Shazam and the Fantastic Four, but I've never seen those in the real world, so I doubt they exist, although I fingers crossed that they do. So when they landed the Planet of the Apes license in 1974, and you could sell anything with apes slapped on it, it's not a big surprise that they used some of the concepts from the superheroes and carried them over, even if they made absolutely no logical sense. One of the things I want to clarify here is, occasionally I get a comment from people like, well, there was planes in the Boole novel, and they flew helicopters in the TV series, the cartoon series. I don't think any of that applies. I think they didn't care, and we as kids didn't care that the parachuting ape made no sense, or, and this is my personal favorite, and I'll include it here, an ape in a helicopter made any sense. I love the Azrak Hamway helicopter. This is one of my favorite pieces of all time. The parachuting apes must have sold very well because there are actually two different variations to them. There's what I call the pacifist apes, which just shows them parachuting. And I think later on they added guns. They gave both apes rifles, which is kind of weird for Dr. Zaius to be, carrying a rifle. Maybe it's supposed to be Virgil. I don't know. This is a very strange variation, and I would love to know the history behind it, but I don't think I've ever actually read a theory about it or why they did that. Occasionally, when I post a toy here or on the website, I get comments from people who say, I really wish that was more show accurate. And that's where I kind of disagree. I personally, and this is just my preference, love the clunk and weirdness of vintage toys. It's why I'm there. Nothing against folks who love hot toys. I prefer something that was made purely with fun and, okay, there's a little bit of cheapness in here. But I absolutely this is what attracts me to toys and toy collecting, is this kind of fun, clunky look to it, and it makes absolutely no sense. And the more off-model, the more I'm kind of drawn to it. It's I don't know if it's hipsterism or contrarianism, but that's what makes me tick, and I love these toys. I absolutely adore them. AHI, of course, would continue the parachuting concept right up until the 1980s, including in such brands as Star Trek, Space 1999, Sergeant Rock, and the Mighty Crusaders, just to name a few. Curiously, they did not include the world's famous super monsters, the Universal Monsters. So I actually kind of rectified that and made my own. This is one of my little hobbies I have, making custom parachute figures out of resin and cut-up tablecloths from Halloween decorations. This is something I wish I did more. I have a bunch of these in the works, but I never have the time to do them. I hope to eke out a little time this year and do a few fantasy projects I want to do. Do you have fond memories of losing one of these guys in a tree? Do you have a theory as to why they came with or without rifles? I want to hear it either in the comments section here on YouTube, our Facebook page, our Facebook group, Pod Stallions, or you can always hit me up on Twitter or Instagram, where the handle is @PlaidStallions. Thanks as always for watching. Love to hear your feedback. Talk to you next week with a new toy venture.